respect the flag. That's all I can say.
Come on. There we go. It's safe, sweetie. Come on. Democrats. Come on. Well, come on. I ain't gonna pick you up. You gotta jump up on your own, sweetie. Yeah, come on. You can do it. You're a big girl. Come on. There you go. And, ooh, you're cold. Ooh, hey, square. It seems that, you know what, I could do one on hate. Yeah, let's do hate. Each one of these videos I should start out saying that, there's all kinds of people in the world, obviously. Me, I'm an asshole. I know I'm an asshole. And I really don't care what anybody thinks of me. Never have. It's like, you know what? What do I care? But there's so much hate. And if you look at where the hate comes from, does it come from Trump supporters? Comes from Democrats or the people on the left, if they don't want to be referred to as Democrats, but they're Democrats. There was so much hate on Twitter toward him, and it's like, that was totally ridiculous that they hated him that much. It's like, how can you hate somebody that much when you don't even know him? It's like, well, I hate Putin. Why? I don't know. I don't know much about Putin. But Trump, because they're from the left, they're Democrats, they don't have their own opinion. While we all got to group together and we all got to hate President Trump, we all have to hate Confederate statues. An amazing thing is when they originally started tearing down the statues, I was like, they're not going to stop. And they haven't. It's like the Democrats stripping Washington's name, Lincoln's names off of schools. I believe it was Seattle. I'm not 100% sure. I believe it was Seattle, though, that voted to remove Washington and Lincoln's statues from the town. Why? That makes no sense. Washington, first president of the United States, was because he owned slaves, so automatically he's a bad person. Lincoln, who freed the slaves, they now hate him because he owned slaves. And it's like, wait a minute. He's the one who released and said, okay, we cannot have any more slavery. So all the blacks back then, they weren't called blacks, Negroes. I can't really remember. Well, I was around then. But anyway, and it's just funny how now they're stripping his name off of statues and away from buildings and schools because he owned slaves. But he's the one that set you free. Not you, but most of the ones that are out there whining now. One, you really don't see as many what I consider blacks. They're decent people. I do heating and cooling for a living, so I go into Flint and various areas that are heavily black. And it's funny talking to the older ones that are my age or older, how they talk about the younger generation and how they talk about, this was a nice neighborhood until all these, N-word ones moved in here and they've trashed the neighborhood and they're destroyed it. When I moved in here, this was a really nice neighborhood. And it's just funny listening to them talk. But anyway, on the Democrat side, there is so much hate. And it's like I never really understood that. How come you hate President Trump so much? Well, he said this, he said that. Show me. Show me where he said that. Produce a video. They can't. Because it's not true. But anyway, So anyway, I am no longer a Democrat. I was a Democrat, mostly voted Democrat for years, and then obviously I didn't vote for Biden. I didn't vote for them. As soon as President Trump started to run, I was like, he has my vote. Jean was like, oh, how could you vote for that guy? I'll never vote for him. And so did her other kid. And in a way, both of them were like, no way. Guess what? They both voted for him. Because it's like, yeah, if you listen to him and not the hate from the Democrats or even some of the swamp Republicans, you don't listen to that. You listen to what he says. You research. You find out. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's got my vote. He's going to run this country the way it should be run. And so anyway, it seems like all of the hate comes from the Democrats or the left, whatever you want to, whatever they want to. It's Democrats. The riots during the summer, all summer long. I don't remember if it was 30 or 80. It might have been 80. It was either 30 or 80. I don't know which. I could Google it. Police officers that were killed during the rioting this summer. Who were the rioters? Democrats. People on the left. BLM, Antifa, and a lot of them were young punk white kids. Privileged. You know, that didn't get disciplined when they were kids. They're the ones that are full of hate. They're the ones that were rioting. And there's no excuse for that. And some of what the politicians, the Democrats, were saying, Pelosi's up there saying, oh, well, I don't understand why there's not more protests, nationwide and riots. They promoted so much violence. It was incredible. And a lot of people don't realize how they talked, the Democrats, Pelosi, Shifty Shift, Schumer, AOC, and just a massive amount of them. The hate that they have for this country and for President Trump is incredible. I mean, it's just, where does it come from? You know, and to me it comes from the schools, the colleges, teaching them that America is a racist country. So you should hate America. You should hate Republicans. You got to hate Trump. You got to hate Republicans. You have to hate this country. And it's like, I served in the military for this country. And because I love this country. So I serve my country. And to hear the left, the Democrats, talk about hate and demonstrate hate with all the riots this summer and when the Capitol protest, right? That's what the others were. All summer long, the Democrats protested. There weren't riots. Buildings burning, getting looted, windows being smashed. But that was just, demonstrations or a protest. Well, anyway, you had 80, I believe it was 80, cops killed this summer from the hate from the Dems on the left. I'm not saying all Democrats are like that. So then they're like the riots, insurrection at the Capitol. 5 people were killed. So you have 5 people killed. Some windows were smashed. And it's like, that's insurrection. Oh, they stormed the Capitol. And it turns out that that was pre-planned. They've already proven it, that was, FBI knew that that was going to happen. Pelosi knew that that was going to, everywhere they all knew what was going to happen. But they allowed that to happen. And they could have prevented the whole thing very easily. Instead, they allowed it to happen so they could turn that hate. Oh, look, see what Trump and the Republicans did? See what his supporters did, his deplorables, They refer to us as deplorables, terrorists, lowlifes, just tons of different names they refer to Trump supporters as. And it's like, all they're doing is showing their ignorance by not researching why they hate President Trump and his supporters and America. How can you hate the country where you were raised? It's just mind-boggling how you can't love this country. This country allows you to go out and demonstrate, protest. Now, when the riots started, it didn't matter whether it was Capitol Hill, all the riots all summer long. I think the cops should have went in there and started busting heads. That would have put an end to it. Same thing in the 60s when you had all the riots in the 60s. You bust some heads. We were down in Detroit then, and the National Guard were getting shot at with real bullets, but they could only return fire with rubber bullets. Yeah. But anyway, the hate from the Democrat side, and they don't want to put America first. Their slogan is make America last. So they put America last. They put American citizens last. And they put all these foreign countries first. And it's like, how can you put all those foreign countries above your country? It's like, your country, doesn't matter where you're from. Doesn't matter if you're from Russia, whether you're China, whether you're Korean, from any of the countries in Africa, any of the countries in South America. It doesn't matter. Everybody should love the country they're in, unless, like Venezuela, you can understand them not loving their country because of all what's going on there and the hate from the government. But anyway, I know this probably doesn't make any sense. I'll have to play it and look at it, probably edit it. But anyway, the Democrat side is so full of hate that I really don't get where all that hate comes from. I will never understand that. People hate certain people. I hate this one, you hate that one. Okay. But to automatically hate President Trump and his 75 million voters, which is actually more than that, they hate all of us. Why do you hate us? Well, because you voted for President Trump. Okay, I voted for what was good for the country. Well, we hate you. You think about that. That makes no sense. How they can hate you just because of who you voted for, or the violence that went on all summer. It wasn't the Trump supporters doing it. It was all on the left, the Democrats. They're the ones that were doing all that violence. But the mainstream media just said, "Oh, there were peaceful protests." So did Pelosi and all them. They said the exact same thing. They lied, and it's like, don't be lying. Can you guys, are you capable of telling the truth? Just like the fake media. They don't want to report the truth. So anyway, we'll cut this one here. Appreciate you watching. Oh, one more thing on the whole hate side. It was funny. There was a guy, I don't know who he was. He put a comment, not on my YouTube, but on another YouTube that I went to, and he referred to me as ignorant, and it was all over the whole white privilege. And I thought it rather funny, because it's like, well, you didn't have balls enough to post it on my YouTube, and it's like, so you posted it somewhere else, which I was actually kind of thankful for, because that got some of those people from there to come over to see what my site is all about, so I picked up some more followers. So I find that rather amusing. But hateful people like that, I've always treated them really good. Because that way there, it's like, because remember, I'm an asshole. So people like that, they say things to deliberately try to piss you off. That ain't going to happen. So I turn it around on them, and they really get pissed off. And I'm like, hey, you're the angry one. You're the hateful one. It's like, You know, so I thought that was rather amusing. All right, thumbs up, thumbs down, comment, don't really matter. Just appreciate you watching my videos.